It's Tuesday, October 27th, 2015, and this is What Did I Miss? The show that finds everything that was interesting on the internet today so that you don't have to. If you like what you see and want to show your support, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please, please, please share the video with all of your friends. Without further ado, let's do this. This first story actually started yesterday afternoon. Spring Valley High School, Richland County, South Carolina. You probably already know where I'm going with this, but I'll talk about it anyway. A student was asked to leave a classroom but refused to leave. The teacher then requested an administrator to come in, which she still refused to leave, at which point they brought in the student resource officer, and the student still refused to leave. Then the officer used what some are saying is excessive or at the bare minimum questionable force. Another student in the classroom filmed the events, and that's the video that's blowing up all over the place. The Richland County Sheriff is requesting that the FBI and U.S. Justice Department conduct an independent investigation into the incident. At this point, I've watched the video a couple times. The question that I have is, what were the events that led to this type of action being necessary? Short of the girl threatening the officer's life or the lives of other students in the classroom, I don't see a reason why this would be okay. Look, I get it. Sometimes kids are assholes. We were all young once, and some people just have a problem with authority. But the point of an officer on school grounds is to protect students from danger. Was this girl causing an immediate threat to the safety of others? If she said something like, "I have a gun and I'm gonna shoot you," then yeah, maybe throw her to the ground and disarm her. But if the worst thing that she's doing is being insubordinate, let her have her hissy fit, teach the class the best that you can, then suspend her or expel her later for being a jerk. You don't need to suplex a child to get your point across. I remember plenty of instances in high school where I thought, wow, that kid should probably get a punch in the face. But now that I'm a little bit older, I realize that that probably wouldn't have done much. But I'm just one guy with one opinion. What do you guys think? Do you think it was excessive force? Was it justified? Do we need to know the whole story in order to make a judgment on it? I'd love to get your opinion in the comment section below. 3D printing technology has been making huge strides in the healthcare industry. Most 3D printing is done for prosthetics, as printers layer metal and plastic until the object is fully formed. But there hasn't been a method of 3D printing soft objects like organs until now. Research at Carnegie Mellon University has developed a way to 3D print a gel-like material that could lead to printing more true-to-life versions of organs. The problem with 3D printing a gel is that the material will collapse on itself without support, but the team solved that problem by using a more rigid support gel that can then be melted off once the 3D printed object is complete. Essentially printing a gel inside of a gel. In tests, this method has produced femurs, arteries, hearts, and brains. The current focus is on the heart, and finding ways to inject living cardiac cells into the 3D printed heart so that the heart can be grown in a lab. The research is also releasing the 3D print designs on an open source license. Donald Trump has finally let loose the secret to his success. It turns out that when he got his start, a lot of people told him no. A lot of people slammed doors in his face. But he overcame those obstacles with hard work and determination. Just pure elbow grease. And a small loan from his father to the tune of $1 million. Oh, but did I mention that he had to pay that loan back to his father with interest? He had it rough, guys. This comment was made at a town hall meeting in New Hampshire, and it obviously seems conflicting that someone who did everything on his own would have a $1 million head start. He justified it by saying that $1 million is nothing compared to what he's built. I'm sure if you gave me the same business contacts and mentors and that same $1 million, I could make at least a little something out of that. I mean, even if you don't build businesses or buildings, if you invest $1 million the right way, you can probably live comfortably for a while. So just know that Donald Trump is an everyman, just like you. He worked his ass off. He just had an extra $1 million to start with. No biggie. A Christian website is offering up some advice for couples in the sack. It's pretty simple advice for men. If your wife agrees to have sex, but she's not that into it that night, just don't look her in the face. The website is called biblicalgenderroles.com, and it explains that it's a woman's responsibility to accept her husband's sexual advances at any time, even if she has to fake it. He states that if your wife isn't into it, then her face becomes sinful and ugly, and looking at it will kill your sexual pleasure. The column suggests that you avert your eyes to her body and focus on the sexual pleasure that you receive from it. That when your wife is reluctant to sex, just focus on the physical side. The only acceptable times to reject sex are in times of sickness, after childbirth or injuries, or deaths in the family. All other times, you have to be like Nike and just do it. In previous columns, the same author has stated that he believes there's no such thing as marital rape, stating that sex is not about being in the mood or feelings, it's about doing what is right. To sum this up, completely objectify women, have sex with them as often as you want, because it doesn't matter what they want. And if she's not that into it, don't look at how much her face is showing she hates it. Ignore that, and focus on that ass. The whole article made me feel like I needed to take a shower. What's worse is members of that community commended him for how well thought out this article was. It's disgusting. If you can make your way through the column, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comment section below. In climate change news that might not be that surprising, Exxon, which is now ExxonMobil, knew the dangers of climate change 40 years ago and has spent millions of dollars to promote misinformation on the subject. Exxon was given vital information by senior scientist James Black in 1977. That's a full 11 years before it was a publicly discussed issue. The misinformation tactics used by Exxon are compared to those used by the tobacco industry when speaking on the health risks of smoking. Exxon, of course, is denying the claim, stating that the scientific research that was presented to them was unclear, which isn't surprising due to the fact that they created the Global Climate Coalition to question the validity of climate change science. Much like Big Tobacco, spreading doubt allowed Exxon to continue to earn similar profits despite a known health hazard. Since this is an obvious global issue, how would you hold a company like Exxon responsible for knowing that information and then trying to discredit it? The damage has been done for years with impunity. Would finding a company like Exxon some arbitrary large amount of money make a difference in the impact that they've already made on the environment? I think the only way that things would change is no longer being dependent on fossil fuels, which seems to be a global goal for which the deadline is fast approaching. But what do you think? Should Exxon pay up? And if so, how much? And that's all I have for today. If you'd like to learn more about anything I talked about today, the links are in the description below. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and please share the video with everyone you know. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow when you ask yourself, what did I miss?